am a music supervisor. I have my company here at Clear Music Supervision. Basically, we are the ones that manage all of the music that's used in film, TV, any type of licensing required in another media.
My name is James Tommey. I'm a professional musician here in Austin, more specifically a bass player. I play with various artists around town on a freelance level.
And I'm James Shinault. I am the production volunteer coordinator for South by Southwest.
My name is Marc Sustaita. My students call me Mr. S. I teach elementary music K through 5 at Rodriguez Elementary.
I'm Laura Thomas. I'm a booking agent, and I have my own business. It's called ComboPlate Booking. And booking agents, what we do is we represent the artists to the venue, and we negotiate we schedule and negotiate all the shows that they have.
I went to Berklee College of Music in Boston, and I studied there for 4 years. I majored in performance, so it was all focused on playing. You have your core. I had my core curriculum, which was harmony, ear training, which are absolutely vital to any musician. But the other part of it is the network. I mean, the music industry is all about networking. I think anyone at this table will tell you that it's all about your network. And the first gig I got here in Austin when I moved here was through someone I knew at Berklee. And that gig led to another, and your network just grows and grows and grows from that. So,
But it really started for me when I went to college. I actually have a degree in music business administration from Indiana State University. While I was there, part of my degree program, I put on shows at the school. I threw my own festival, things like that. And as part of that, I really got into the staffing side of things. But ultimately, for my degree, I had to do an internship. And so I I drove down to Austin for South by Southwest in 2006 and volunteered for the festival. And through that I met the intern coordinators and was able to get an internship, and immediately after my internship I was hired on as a staff member at South by Southwest, and I've been with the company ever since.
Well, it's funny because I had kind of like two parallels going at the same time. Other than being in the music and film industry, probably the biggest part of my early career was in the IT field. I've always had an interest in electronics and computers, and around then in '93 is when I worked my way up to network engineer, transferred here to Round Rock. I was a director of hospital information systems at Round Rock Medical Center at the same time when I started my publishing companies. So a lot of what I learned in a director position helps me with my music supervision, organizational skills, budgeting, dealing with employees. There's not a lot of courses you can take, so a lot of it you're going to have to just dig into it and learn on your own, on-the-job training, networking with people.
I originally wanted to go performance, but during my first year at Baylor, my ex-wife had gotten pregnant at the time, so I had to make a big decision whether to go, performance, which I always wanted to do, or to just make sure I make a steady paycheck. So a big decision was made, and I went ahead and went education.
But in college, I studied social work, and so that's what I did for a really long time. And then my main job that I stayed in the longest was as a hospice social worker, and that's somebody who takes care of people who are dying. And then while I was there, it was 9 years, I just started, it started to wear on me. And so I started to think, what else? I wanted to change. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I just literally made a list, what am I passionate about? What are my skills? And then, in this sort of convoluted way, I ended up being a booking agent. I always joke with people that booking and being a booking agent, being a social worker are exactly the same thing. To me they are, because as a booking agent, I have a client, they have a problem, they need work, and so I pull together the resources and I make things happen for them. So it's kind of the same as as being a social worker in my head. I think also the qualities are very similar in that you have to be very detail oriented, you have to be very you have to have infinite patience, you have to be resilient and not take anything personal, and be a good communicator, and be good with just people in general and relationships and building relationships. And there were two really great books that I read, and You might want to write them down. One of them is called All You Need to Know About the Music Business, and the author is Passman, Donald Passman, I think. And it talks about all the sort of disciplines, and also people who aren't even here, like management and, you know, all sorts of things. So that was a great book that I read. It helped me learn. And then there was another one called How to Be Your Own Booking Agent. You know, and it's for the artists, but it helped me as in learning to be an agent too, because it had practical documents like how to write a contract and things like that.
I guess the biggest thing I like is being the middle guy between the film industry and the music industry and bringing it all together to make everything work in the end product of the film or TV show. The one thing that I would like to change, and this is a good thing here, is educating the filmmakers and the music makers, because there's a lot of gaps in what they know. You know, there's people that I've worked with as far as musicians that have been playing music, writing music, and they're not members of ASCAP or BMI, and they've been doing it for 10, 15 years, and they're clueless about performing rights organizations. There's filmmakers who are licensed or putting music in their film, and they don't know that they have to license the music, or they do know that they have to, but they don't know how to.
The thing I love most about my job is the ability, I just get to be creative every day at work. It's great. I love playing music. The worst part about it is the lack of stability. Like, for example, about a month ago, one band I was playing with steadily decided that they weren't going to play anymore. So at that point, I was like, well, I have to go find another job. And that happens a lot in the music industry. And you have to really rely on that network you've built up to have the ability to jump from job to job, you know, with very little time in between.
Well, how many of you guys have ever been to South by Southwest in some form or fashion? All right. That's what I like about my job. I work for a really cool event. I get to watch 250,000 people come downtown to Austin, clog up the entire city, make all the locals hate us, and throw one of the biggest parties in the country for the music industry. And I get to see 2,000 bands playing on over 90 stages, and over 300 films showing, and over 15,000 creative professionals here for the interactive industry. And it takes up 10 days of my life that I plan 364 days out of the year. I take one day off a year, that's the Monday after South by. I get to see all of that stuff and know that myself, along with 100 or so of my closest friends, put it all together. That our work and effort that we did over an entire year, I get to watch that happen over 10 days. And then I get to watch everybody experience it, and everybody that gets to go to the event enjoy it. The best groups of people that I work with are the volunteers. And as far as something that I would love to change is I need more volunteers.
What I like most about my job is being, I'm 34 and still basically getting paid to act like a kid 24/7. I mean, I guess as a parent, it's made me a stronger teacher, because I mean, you have to deal with the vomit, you got to deal with the feces, you got to deal with stuff like this. At one point or another, you're gonna have to deal with something that's pretty darn disgusting.
You have to do that at South.
Yeah. So sometimes music is just one thing that it keeps that kid interested. It keeps them in the school. And it's amazing how, you know, even in art and PE, like the special area teachers, just sometimes the kid will just come and talk to you about their problems. And for that 45 minutes when they're with you, I mean, you can really get them to turn things around. But the one thing I really hope to change is not just for teachers, but to parents as well, knowing that, you know, we do something that's beneficial for our students. I mean, we teach a lot of math concepts, a lot of science, health, I mean, even history as well. So to combine all that in 45 minutes and to do it, you know, 7 classes a day, it's fun. It really is. I just wish more people would appreciate, you know, really what we do.
I think the thing that I like the best is probably the autonomy and just being independent and deciding how I'm going to shape my day every day. I mean, I'm pretty disciplined, basically 10 to 6, but if I'm having a hard day, then I can, you know, work at night or do something else during the day. So I like being able to make my own schedule. And the other thing I really like is just the group of artists that I work with. You know, there's all sorts of booking agents. You could be a booking agent of punk bands or, you know, or cover bands or country bands, and I happen to work with singer-songwriters, which isn't the most lucrative genre to represent, but I really like the artists that I represent now. I have 7, and I've had up to 12 and as low as 5 or 6, but right now I currently have 7, and I'm going to add 1 more in March. So.
Cool.
Free?
Yeah, free is most often. When I first moved to Austin, the first couple of gigs I did were for free because I knew that no one was going to hire me and pay me a couple $100s a show if they didn't know who I was. I got pretty lucky that the second person I ended up playing with was well known enough to actually put me on salary, so I was getting paid a decent salary every month. But if you're the artist, I mean, booking agent knows this as well as I do. You can range from nothing if it's a festival and like South by, you don't get paid. All these bands are coming here to play for free, to play in front of industry folk because they think it's going to be worthwhile for their career. Up to I've seen people like that I've played for. Probably the most we've ever played for was around $10,000 at a festival, and that was for the whole band. But I mean, if you're talking, when you start getting up there to, like, for example, in the like part of the industry I'm in, probably Randy Rogers or Eli Young, probably the two bigger names. They're pulling in around $40,000 to $50,000 per show. So that's why they can afford to ride on buses and have all these crew members. But typically when you start out, you're looking at free to about $100 is the best you're going to get.
Every club has their own deal,
Right.
Maybe you're playing at a restaurant where they're not taking any ticket at the door, and so they're just paying you a flat fee to play for X amount of time. And then you might be playing at a club like the Continental Club where there's a ticket price, and then you get a percentage of that ticket price. And then and then you're splitting with the other two bands or on the bill. And sometimes, say you're going back to the Continental Club and you played there 5 times, and they know you're going to bring in 100 people, so they might give you a flat fee versus your percentage.
Right.
So those are like the sort of things I
The
negotiate.
reason why I was asking is because if you also are credited as the songwriter, you can also make income by licensing your music.
Yeah.
There's tons of films going on here in Austin, from student films to bigger productions.
Songwriters will make less than what they pay their band because they have to guarantee them a certain wage, for them to go out on the road with them. So it just depends on who you are when you want to make that money. So
Like being a musician, you've got to look at your entire revenue stream. You can't focus on just making money from live performances or just making money from your songwriting. You've got to look at your merchandise, radio play, everything. Any way you can make money as an artist, you should search that out and you should do it.
Yeah, so when we look to book bands at South by Southwest, we look at a lot of different things. Specifically what we look at is, number one, most important, are you good at whatever it is that you do? Whatever genre of music it is that you play, are you good at that genre? Yeah. Or are you just average? Or what's unique about how you're performing your style of music? And then what we look at is how ambitious are you in your career? Are you playing gigs? And are you just playing the same local coffee dive once a month, or are you getting out there and playing gigs? Whether they're free gigs, whether they're small venues, or whether it's regional, national, what are you actually doing to get gigs? And then, do you have a manager? Do you have a booking agent? Do you have somebody acting on your behalf that's going to help promote your show, that's going to help reach out to their contacts and get people to come to your show? And then on top of that, it's how active are you in things like social media? Do you have a Facebook account? Do you have a Twitter account? Are you still on MySpace? Is that the only place that we can find your music? If we put your name in Google, what's going to come up? We look at all that sort of stuff to see, because not only do we want your show to go successful because we want our bar owners to be happy, we want the club to be full, all that sort of stuff, but we don't want you to take the time to come to South by Southwest, like you mentioned, for free and not have anybody come to your show.
You've also got to find, again, saying to the unique stuff, you've got to find your niche. You've got to find your tribe. So you've got to find those people that will show up to your show every single time. You've got to find those 1,000 people that will buy your CD, no matter where they live.